How do they put the insane anabolic juiciness into these Starburst anabolic protein ice creams? They import insane anabolics from the land of anabolics.
Get this intense juiciness in Starburst! Ugh. I win!
No way! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and the Anabolic Kitchen. For most folks that have been with me on this channel know that I highly encourage my subs and new viewers to shoot me over recipes that they've personally come up with or just have seen on the interwebs and would love to have an actual review on those recipes. And so one of our very own subs, Rafael Leon, had sent over a protein soft serve ice cream recipe. Now, if you've seen my full day of eating video that was earlier this week, you'll know that I capped off the night with this recipe and didn't quite dive into the details of it. Well, that's because I wanted to save that information for this video. So let me first start off by saying thank you so much to Rafael Leon for sharing this awesome recipe with us. And I'm gonna go ahead and post it up on the screen now so you guys can take a screenshot of it. But this is the recipe that we're gonna follow today with a couple of minor tweaks to it.
Buddy, I want to thank Jason for having me on the channel. This is the base recipe and there's a lot of room to customize it and improve it. Some things that I've been trying personally is to add 500 to 600 grams of ice to make it even bigger. Another one of my favorite things to do is to add a protein brownie in there. There are so many things to add, from coffee creamers, extracts, cereals, and so on, to customize it and make it yours. I encourage everybody to make their own variations of it and throw them in the comments. I'd love to read them, and I hope you guys love this recipe.
Now, today's recipe is just a slight twist on Rafael's original recipe, so I'm excited to see how this turns out. But I figured this would be a super fun one to do, especially with us all being in summer and with a lot of different subscribers and viewers from US and Australia having requested more protein ice cream recipes. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. All right, guys, enough chit-chatting, let's get into the recipe. And just as a heads up, guys, this recipe is pretty much the same as a lot of our other protein ice cream recipes that we've been making. Really, it just comes down to some of the ingredients being manipulated just slightly and then when and how things are blended up. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first up, you're gonna need 32 grams of a whey and casein protein blend. I'm using a snickerdoodle flavor. Feel free to use a vanilla or whatever flavor you prefer. Then we're gonna go ahead and use 14 grams of a sugar-free pudding mix. Next up, we'll be using 2 packets of a Starburst blue raspberry powder. Next up, we'll use 7 grams of a xanthan gum. Then you're going to need 200 milliliters of a frozen almond unsweetened milk. On top of these ingredients, you're also going to need 500 grams of ice. So in terms of the first step, what we're going to do is we're going to take our 200 milliliters of frozen unsweetened almond milk, and then we're also going to take our 500 grams of ice, throw it into the blender, and then give it a good whip. So guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the block of unsweetened almond milk, the frozen block, and take it and put it into the blender first before I actually put in the ice. So from here, we're really just gonna blend this to the point where everything just becomes really airy and just essentially becomes really like shaved ice. So here's what the ice is looking like. You can tell it's pretty blended up and is very close to a resemblance of shaved ice. Now this is what I'm gonna work with. We're gonna go ahead and toss in the rest of the ingredients. 32 grams of a whey and casein protein. All right guys, 7 grams of a xanthan gum. Then we've got 14 grams of an instant pudding sugar-free vanilla mix. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and take our sugar-free Starburst blue raspberry dry drink mix and then toss these in. You can obviously add in 2 additional more, 3 additional more, however to your liking, but we're gonna go ahead and use 2 for this specific recipe. Then we've got 150 milliliters of unsweetened regular almond milk. Guys, this is totally optional, but I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of blue flavoring just to kind of give it some extra punch in terms of aesthetics. But go ahead and just leave everything else as is to your liking, and then we're gonna go ahead and whip this up. Take a look at this. Look at that bad boy. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get set up and get ready for the taste test. For all the new viewers out there, we're going into 3 categories: anabolics, taste, and craving. So when we take a look at the actual macro breakdown and the actual total calories, I think we're in a pretty good spot, right? If you take a look at Google and you do a couple of different searches in terms of Starburst ice cream, you've got a number of different options that actually show up. And I do see one that's actually a Starburst sorbet, which I'm considering as a healthy option, but it's roughly about 70 calories or 1.9 ounces. And with that, you get roughly 15 grams of carbs and 1 gram of fat and 0 grams of protein. In comparison to this, I gotta say we're in a pretty decent spot, but I'm gonna go ahead and rate this as a solid 8. All right, guys, I don't know if it's this or she just wants to be on camera, but she's absolutely loving this. I mean, take a look at that, right? Oh. I can tell you already that this is smelling absolutely amazing. The 2 packets of the Starburst Blue Raspberry drink mix definitely make a huge impact on the flavor. So without further ado, let's go ahead and try this out. This is already melted. Take a look at that. I mean, it looks pretty solid in terms of a good soft serve. Obviously it's melted. I've had to move the camera around a couple different times. Definitely a little bit of a delay, so it's melted slightly, but in terms of the initial, you know, once you've opened up the blender top and taken a look, it really does come out pretty solid. Very much like a soft serve. All right, cheers guys. Oh man, that is really good. I know, it smells and tastes absolutely delicious. Cupcake's gonna try this. Approved by Cupcake? I think so. So let's talk a little bit about the taste. So in terms of overall taste, you know, this recipe really does a great job of really recreating the soft serve type texture in comparison to a lot of the other protein ice creams that I've had. Obviously, the longer that you let this sit outside, things are just gonna melt. So right now, overall, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this as a solid 9, especially in terms of flavor. Now, if you use the Starburst Blue Raspberry powdered drink mixes, they definitely taste absolutely great. I mean, you don't even need to use the actual blue dye. I just did it for aesthetic purposes. But at the end of the day, the flavor really does shine through. And so if you guys have other dry powdered drink mixes, I'm sure there's, you know, Gatorades, there's, you know, limeades, lemonades. There's a lot of different options out there. So I've said this a few other times too. Whenever you've got oatmeal, or maybe you're working with pancakes, maybe you're working with French toast, anything that requires a batter or a liquid mix, you always have different options to play around with when it comes to flavor. And so I use a lot of the liquid water flavor enhancers. The dry powder drink mixes also work as well. And they're also low calorie or sugar-free options. And so they definitely are great opportunities just to kind of give your desserts or just your meals in general some extra little added touch to it and kind of give your taste buds some life. Now onto craving. Now in terms of craving, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this as a solid 9. I think for a lot of folks, depending on how you guys want to tweak your ingredients and how you guys go about setting everything up, I think everyone's got their own preferences. And for me, I think this does definitely a very good job of coming out as a soft serve. I think the only tricky part is just making sure that you have to really remember to freeze the 200 milliliters of almond milk before you actually go into this recipe. But I really do think this is a great recipe that you guys should try out. And I also think that this is a really great tweak to the anabolic protein ice creams that we've been working with as of recent. And I also think it's safe to say that Cupcake approves of the taste and quality. So, but otherwise guys, definitely from an anabolics taste perspective and craving perspective, you're really gonna hit all points. And I don't think that you can go wrong with this, especially for folks that are looking for something that's a little bit unique. And so I know a lot of my Aussie friends have requested a lot of different protein ice cream recipes. And so I hope this guys served you well along with everybody else who's watching. I really hope that this unique type of approach can help you guys come up with different ideas and flavors and really satisfy your sweet tooth, especially when you guys are dieting and kind of going through a really difficult part of the stage when you're low on calories and macros, try out Raphael's approach. That Oreo one definitely tasted on point, and I really do have to give it to him. Definitely huge shout out to Raphael. Well guys, we just covered the 3 categories: anabolic, taste, and craving, for a total score of 8.6. Guys, this is definitely a solid recipe to try out, and if you guys are looking for just a little bit of an extra kick to your guys' protein ice creams, give this a shot. Who knows? You might be able to chill out with this and get your anabolic gains on. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, as this was a little bit of a different twist on your normal protein ice creams. And if you enjoyed today's episode of some Starburst blue raspberry goodness, make sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up. It really helps the channel to grow and get folks just like yourself in the know. But otherwise, I hope you guys stay safe, stay swole, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.